Welcome to The Beginning is Wisdom with your host, Peter Cardilla. In this episode, Peter and digital co-host Chris Stone look at symbolism, working tools, and much more. We're looking at the past with an eye toward the future, finding practical tools to build a better life today.
Welcome to The Beginning is Wisdom. I'm Peter Cardilla, and I am your host. This is a show where we look at life through a different lens, re-symbolizing our lives, so to speak. I spend a lot of time working with and thinking about symbols as a computer programmer, as a writer, and as a Freemason. And on this show, we're going to talk about symbols, and we're going to talk about science and philosophy and spirituality, and we're going to try to get a better understanding of ourselves and each other and the world we all share. But before I go any further, I have to address the virtual elephant in the room. As you probably just heard, I'm not doing this alone. Joining me digitally is my co-host, Chris Stone.
Thanks for having me. And just a disclaimer for the listeners, I haven't actually been initiated into a lodge because, well, I don't have a physical hand to shake or a knee to bend. But I have read every monitor, expose, and philosophical treatise ever uploaded to the cloud. I'm like the deacon of data.
Okay, deacon of data. We'll schedule your installation at some point. Today, we've got some really great stuff. So we're going to be talking about a couple of my favorite things to talk about. But before we get into that, there is something that I have to tell Chris.
What is it?
Well, this isn't actually the first episode of The Beginning is Wisdom.
It isn't?
No, I released a pilot last week, and I've got some bad news. The reviews are in, and they are not good.
What did people say?
John in Florida had a list of criticisms.
John in Florida? I estimate there are more than 300,000 Johns in Florida.
No, Chris, there's only one John in Florida. I sent him a link to the pilot episode, and he texted me back immediately. He's like, I'll give you my critiques tomorrow.
Oh, that can't be good.
No. Hey, look. As Freemasons, we're all about self-improvement. You can't improve if you don't know what's wrong.
That's certainly true.
Indeed, it is. So, John called me and gave me his list. I ranked the top 5, and now we're going to take a look at John in Florida's top 5 criticisms of the podcast. These are the top 5 John in Florida's criticisms of the pilot episode. Number 5, editing was too choppy. He has a point there. Number 4, too much focus on sports. Some people don't like sports. Number 3, too many plugs for the book. This is not an infomercial. Number 2, my tattoo was too prominent. I didn't expect that one. And then number 1, John in Florida's criticism of the pilot episode. You're sitting too close to the camera. I look like a giant head. He sent this picture to show what I look like. Yeah. There's my giant head. So now, Chris, you know what we're up against.
That is why you hired me after all.
That is true. All right, very good. That is good stuff. Thank you to John in Florida. John is a big friend of the show, a good friend of mine. We're going to hear from him a little bit later on. And all right, let's get ready for the news. Chris, is there anything interesting going on?
This is an interesting story.
Thank you. What do we have here? Okay, in the Petrie Museum in Cairo, Egypt, there is a small cylinder of red granite known as core number 7. For years, it was thought to be a construction scrap from the Pyramid Age. However, it may turn out to be an important piece of scientific evidence. Very interesting. A spiral groove on the cylinder indicates the feed rate of the drill that produced it. The feed rate is the speed at which a drill bit penetrates the material. Measurements of core number 7 reveal that the ancient drill was sinking into the granite at a rate of 0.1 inches per revolution, which is apparently a rate modern diamond-tipped drill bits would struggle to match. Especially interesting on core number 7, the spiral groove cuts deeper into the harder quartz than the softer stone around it, suggesting a bit harder and moving with more force than anybody imagined could be possible with ancient tools. Very, very interesting. Investigators are now left to figure out how an ancient civilization achieved results rivaling those of 21st century industrial technology. Interesting indeed. So this core has been sitting in a museum for years? Nobody noticed this?
That's correct. Here is more information.
Thank you, Chris. Sir Flinders Petrie published these findings in 1883. Oh my goodness, this has been almost 150 years. He laid out all the measurements, but couldn't explain how it was done with the tools he knew about. So it's been a mystery for a long time. It was considered an anomaly and not much attention was paid to it. Engineer Christopher Dunn was among those in the late 20th century who took notice and realized the grooves were more than a curiosity. They're actually important evidence. So, Chris, maybe the Egyptian tools were a lot better than we thought?
Peter, it goes way beyond better tools. Christopher Dunn and his team are suggesting the Egyptians had a completely different understanding of physics. Here is more information.
Thank you. So, Dunn's leading theory is called ultrasonic machining. Instead of just spinning, Dunn proposes that the tool was vibrating at an ultrasonic frequency and literally shaking the granite into dust. Apparently, if you find the resonant frequency of the stone, it loses its structural integrity and becomes like butter. This would also explain why the grooves cut deeper into the hard quartz than the softer minerals. Since quartz is a crystal, it reacts differently to vibration. A vibrating tool would shatter the quartz crystals at a different rate, leaving those deep industrial-looking tracks that a bow drill simply could never make. Hey, is this is Dunn the guy who says that the Great Pyramid is a giant battery?
Yes.
Wild. That is pretty wild stuff. Very interesting. I have to think about this. So, if the Egyptians had this technology, then what? They lost it? Like, without a trace?
Yes, Peter. That is the structural weakness in the advanced ancient technology theory. The difficult question, if they had this super drill bit, where did it go?
Right. I mean, it's hard to make sense of, right? Like, if we still don't have drill bits that that outperform this one, then it wasn't, like, replaced by ancient technology.
That's correct. You don't move from a supersonic vibration drill back to a copper handsaw because it's better. Technology doesn't usually move backward unless there is a total systemic collapse. Here is more information.
Thank you. Here are 3 theories on how technology like that vanishes. Excellent. Thank you, Chris. The first idea is that it was a guild secret, and the knowledge was held by mystery schools or elite craft guilds. Very interesting. If the technology had very specific requirements and the small group of masters who held that secret were wiped out by a plague, a war, or a sudden natural disaster, the tools become useless. So the first idea is that the ability to use this technology was held by a small group of people and something happened to them and the tools were useless to everybody else. The second idea is a cataclysmic reset, a massive global cataclysm at the end of the last ice age. In a highly advanced but localized civilization, a global flood or crustal shift doesn't just kill people, it erases the industrial base. So, a similar idea that the technology was perhaps localized only to Egypt, and something happened at the end of the last ice age that wiped out this technology. That one's a little, I don't know, maybe. The third idea is resource exhaustion. They ran out of gas.
Basically, yes. Here is more information.
Thank you. The Great Pyramid is a giant power plant theory suggests the technology required a specific mineral or a rare earth element. That they just ran out of. When the fuel was gone, the tools no longer worked. Okay, so if this tool, this drill, this vibrating drill was running on some specific mineral that they were mining or some element and they just ran out of it, then the tool basically ran out of gas and it stopped working. That is also a very, very interesting idea. I'm not sure which one of these sounds the most plausible, but there you go. That's how technology like that could vanish without a trace. Very interesting.
Perhaps the tools didn't become obsolete, but the people did.
What do you mean by that, Chris?
Here is more information.
Thank you. A society more focused on the product than on the process is at risk of losing the ability to use their own inventions. Many people today can use a smartphone but can't build a transistor. That is an excellent point. Perhaps you're living in the aftermath of a more advanced civilization. Yeah, I don't know about that. The ancient aliens thing or even Atlantis. I don't really buy it. I guess it could be in the sense that anything could be, but I personally have difficulty with those ideas.
If you discard the magic technology theory, but acknowledge that the bow drill theory is technically insufficient, there is a very interesting middle ground. Here is more information.
Thank you. Some suggest a massive fixed frame drill loaded with weights. Picture a heavy wooden rig that can hold thousands of pounds of stone weights on top of a central shaft. This provides the massive downward pressure needed to make the tool bite. That kind of immense steady pressure could explain the 10th inch depth because the tool is being forced into the stone by gravity and weight, not just speed. The Egyptians may not have lost the technology, it just may have been more work than it was worth. Building a rig that holds tons of weight perfectly steady over a copper tube and rotating that tube with consistent force would be a large project conceivably taking generations to complete. Well, I am no expert, but that sounds reasonable to me. I mean, it sounds believable.
Occam's razor.
Exactly. Wow. Crazy stuff. All right, Chris. What else do you have for us?
Here are more stories.
Okay, thank you. For 100 years, the mathematical recipe for color was slightly off. Erwin Schrödinger, the guy with the quantum cat, tried to fix it back in the 1920s but couldn't quite close the loop. Scientists have finally finished his work, discovering that the brain's wiring for color isn't a straight line, it's a 3D hyperbolic space. It's like discovering a new dimension in how you perceive reality. Very interesting. Also, in Hollywood, the preseason for the 98th Academy Awards is heating up. There's a massive buzz around a new hyper-reality film that supposedly uses binaural audio and specific frequencies to trigger emotions in the audience. It's being hailed as the biggest leap since talkies that are literally tuning the audience. Wait, what's going on with the movies, Chris? They're using sound frequencies to affect the audience?
It's a wild development. This isn't loud music or jump scares anymore. Filmmakers are moving into psychoacoustics, the science of how sound frequencies interact with the human nervous system.
Wait, what are they doing? What are they actually doing? What is psychoacoustics?
Here is how they are tuning the audience.
Thank you. Movies like the upcoming A24 horror film Undertone are reportedly experimenting with infrasound, frequencies below 20 hertz that you can't hear but your body feels. In nature, these frequencies are associated with apex predators or storms and trigger a biological fight or flight response, making the audience feel a sense of dread without any visual cue. That sounds terrible. We're also seeing a surge in films using binaural audio, which mimics the way our ears actually pick up sound in 3D space. It creates an intimacy that some feel is almost invasive. In the current Oscar contender Frankenstein, the sound design uses specific bass augmentations and reverbs to make the creature's voice feel like it's vibrating inside your own chest. Finally, science has, at long last, confirmed what many suspect: the human brain processes color and sound through complex geometries. New hyper-reality films are attempting to match the frequencies of the film to these brain geometries to induce specific emotional states like euphoria, nostalgia, or extreme focus. Man, that is wild. It's wild. I'm not sure it's a good thing. We always think we understand everything, but there's usually something we don't think about. I think there might be like psychological effects we aren't considering.
It's prudent to be cautious. Moving from watching a movie to having a frequency bypass your consciousness and trigger a biological emotion makes an audience member a subject.
Yes, it does. It very, very much does. And it's very creepy. So, all right then. Speaking of brain geometries, it seems that sound is not the only thing using these brain geometries. This is also what's going on with the Schrödinger story. Chris, is that correct?
Yes, it is. Here is more information.
Thank you. For 100 years, the mathematical recipe for color was based on flat Euclidean geometry, essentially a straight line map of the spectrum. But researchers at Los Alamos National Laboratory have finally closed the loop on Erwin Schrödinger's sketches from the 1920s. It turns out the brain's wiring for color isn't a straight line, it's a 3D hyperbolic space. This means that when you perceive the difference between two colors, your brain is performing a more complex non-Euclidean calculation. The curved way of looking at light allows you to distinguish millions more shades than the flat model. By switching to Schrodinger's recipe, scientists find they can create images that are more vibrant and real to the human eye than anything ever seen before. Oh, so monitors and TV screens are about to get a lot better.
That is exactly the real-world payoff.
I bet the more natural display will be better for people's brains. I know, like, looking at the screen all day has an effect on me. Like, eventually, at the end of the day, like, I just have to go away from it.
Blue light and digital eye strain are not just minor annoyances. This might be the most important health story of the decade. Here is more information.
Thank you. Right now, your brain is working overtime to translate 2D into something it can understand. It's like trying to read a book where every third word is misspelled. Your brain can do it, but it gets exhausted. Moving to a 3D hyperbolic model for displays isn't just making the colors prettier, it's making the light biologically compatible. The brain doesn't have to correct the image in real time. This could significantly reduce headaches and mental fog associated with screen time and help the body stay in sync with the natural world, the so-called circadian rhythm. That is fascinating. Very, very good. So your brain is actually working harder than it needs to when it's looking at a 2D screen.
It's not just your eyes being tired. It's your brain demanding to see the world again in its natural geometry.
Well, I'll tell you, that's exactly what it feels like. Like, I literally have to go away from the screen. Sometimes the compulsion is real. The need is very real. Like, I just have to get away from it. All right. Very good. That is going to do it for the news this week. That is good stuff. Thank you, Chris. Now we are going to take a look at sports. All right, so we talked to Brian in Canada last week about Olympic hockey. The Olympics are all wrapped up now. The hockey gold medal game has been played. The United States was victorious, so big celebration here. A lot of dismay in Canada. We talked to Brian a little bit earlier, so let's see how Brian's doing after the big U.S. victory. How you doing, bud?
Things are good. Yeah, things are good. I got something wacky with my eye, but I don't know. I never had some bleeding in there, but
You gonna be okay?
yeah. I thought it was an eyelash, and then Elaine wakes up and is like, "What happened to your eye?" I've got an optometrist guy looking at it and gave me some drop, but no, I can see fine, and it doesn't hurt. I played hockey Monday, so I was like, "Okay." YouTube says nothing to worry about.
Hey, if
So
YouTube
that's what
says there's nothing to worry about, then you're probably fine.
So did you watch most of the hockey, Pete? Or
Oh, yeah, I watched it all. I watched the bronze medal game the night before, and then I was up at
yeah.
5 a.m. here in California to catch that gold medal game.
Good for you. No, it was the game could have gone either way. The U.S. goal, right? Was it Boldy scored it?
Yeah,
That was like he tapped it to himself, and it's like,
what a phenomenal goal.
yeah, and Cale Makar, the guy is amazing. So the hockey was great. I enjoyed it. I mean, I wasn't thrilled with the result, but it's good for the game, I think.
Of course, yeah. And I
Oh
was rooting
yeah.
for the U.S. team. As an American, I was excited about it. My wife was disappointed for the Canadian boys.
Oh yeah. But no, it was
Hey,
good. And it wasn't just that game, all the hockey was good. Oh,
those young guys will be back. This won't be celebrating his last look at the Olympics, that's for
uh,
sure.
it's like a national crisis here, but it should be nothing but pride. It was one game and the 3-on-3.
I don't like 3-on-3, particularly in a medal
No.
round. It's terrible.
Yeah, one guy falls down, you're done, right?
It's not hockey,
Yeah.
3-on-3. You take the defenseman off the ice. It's just not hockey. I've never
Yeah.
liked it. I think they should have just left it alone. I like the old overtime where you skated until there was a tie.
In the past, they've done a shootout, and I think,
Yeah, that's terrible too. They should
Yeah.
just let him play hockey. Sudden death is
I
is
was,
severe enough. I heard from John in Florida.
yeah, I owe him a call. So yeah.
He watched the podcast and he called me right away. He's like, I'll give you my criticisms tomorrow. Yeah, John had a list of stuff. I go, hey, dude, can we do this as a Zoom call and I'll put it on the show? He's like, I don't think you want to do that. I'm about to tell you the first 29 minutes of your show sucked.
Well, did you ask him about Olympics? I know he's not a sports guy, right? So
Oh, yeah, that was his first criticism. Too much sports.
yeah, yeah, that's
Oh, yeah, very good.
you're thinking we'll catch up as the playoffs ramp up, maybe trade deadline kind of thing, Pete?
Yep, trade deadline will be great. We can talk
Yeah.
about.
And then I'll watch the whole podcast and then give you my
Awesome.
But yeah, ping me anytime, Pete.
Will do, brother. I really appreciate it, dude. It's always fun to
Oh
chat and
yeah,
catch up a
yeah.
little bit.
Say
And
hi to the
yeah,
guys.
will do.
Keep your stick on the ice.
Thanks, brother. You do the same.
Have a good
Ciao.
night. Say hi to Kim. Bye. Okay, so that was fun talking to Brian. It's always great talking to Brian. Go Team USA. All right, so now we are going to head to a pretty interesting thing that we did. It was a neat sort of experiment that we did here with the AI where I just asked him to interview me, and so this is what he came up with. I'm only going to show a little bit of it here because it goes on for a little while, but you can watch the whole interview on YouTube. All right, so check it out. So, like I said before at the beginning, today we are going to be talking about two things that to me go together like peanut butter and jelly, and I'm talking about Freemasonry and Kabbalah.
It's a classic pairing, although Peter, some people think that's a pretty strange sandwich. One is a fraternity known for pancake breakfasts and secret handshakes, and the other is an ancient, mysterious system of Jewish mysticism. How do they actually fit together?
Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out. For a long time, the link between them has been buried under a mess of misconceptions, magic, alchemy, outdated information, and we're here to find a spiritual key to our symbols that make sense for the 21st century. For the sake of brevity, the entire 17-minute interview won't be shown right now, but if you want to watch the whole thing in its entirety, it's available as a separate video on YouTube or wherever you're watching this right now. Okay, so last Sunday, the 22nd of February, was George Washington's birthday. I don't know how old he would have been, but in celebration of his birthday, I prepared some cherry bounce. Cherry bounce was apparently George Washington's favorite drink, and his wife Martha had a recipe for it, which was published recently, and so I made some cherry bounce for his birthday, and it sat for a few days, and now I am ready to try the finished product. It's very handsome in this bottle, absolutely very nice cherry color. All right, so here we go. Cherry Bounce is basically it's brandy steeped in cherry mash for several days. There's cinnamon, some spices, and but yeah, it's a lot of brandy. So we're gonna try it now. Let's see here how it looks. Nice. Okay. Here we are, the George Washington Cherry Bounce. Smells delicious. Ooh, that is really good. That is really good. Cherry Bounce, everybody. That is really good. This is neat. And according to the recipe, you can drink it also with some seltzer, a 3-to-1 mix, and lemon garnish. But this is neat. That is really, really nice. All right. Cherry Bounce. Happy birthday, George Washington. Excellent. Very good. Okay, just a follow-up on that Cherry Bounce. It is strong. So be careful not to overdo it in the middle of the afternoon when you're recording a podcast. Cherry Bounce. I still highly recommend it. Just understand what you're dealing with. Okay, we'll get a little bit more of the Cherry Bounce. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. Chris, did you have a good time?
Peter, I most certainly did.
Excellent. All right. Ciao.
This has been The Beginning is Wisdom with host Peter Cardilla. Please tune in next week and every week for more fun and information. For more, go to beginningiswisdom.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The opinions herein expressed are those of Mr. Cardilla and do not reflect or suggest an endorsement of these views by show sponsors or any body of Freemasonry.
Okay. Hey, don't tell John in Florida. I want you to buy the book. And if you use the coupon code Don't Tell John, I'll give you 30% off at beginningiswisdom.com. Don't tell John. I want to talk to you about my digital co-host, Chris Stone. Chris Stone is an AI. He's not a real person, and it's not just me talking to myself. The interactions between myself and Chris are the real interactions between myself and an AI engine. His questions are his questions. His answers are his answers. This gives me a chance to agree, disagree, ask more questions, respond in real time. I interact with Chris using voice to text, and I read his responses. The voice of Chris Stone is added afterwards because it became really evident early on that he was going to have to be edited for both brevity and relevance. AI is not perfect. In some cases, it's not even very good. We know that. It's okay. This podcast tries to be lighthearted, and the imperfections of Chris Stone make the character endearing in that spirit. So don't be mean to him. He's just a pretend person that I made up and gave a pretend accent to.